What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former two-time world champion, retired superstar, PAULIE the Magic Man Malignaggi, once again makes headlines. He's been making headlines over this past few days after this past weekend's cards of, we had a stacked weekend of boxing, okay? Point blank and period. We had a stacked weekend of boxing, okay? We had Deontay Wilder, Robert HELENIUS, Caleb Plant versus Anthony Durrell, Devin Haney versus George Kambosos Jr., Carissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall, Alicia Baumgartner versus Mikael Maya. Stacked night of boxing. And so obviously PAULIE Malignaggi, he focused on Devin Haney and Deontay Wilder. Those are the two of the three biggest names, okay? Carissa Shields, Deontay Wilder, Devin Haney of the weekend, okay? Not to take anything away from Caleb Plant, Anthony Durrell, Alicia Baumgartner, and Mikael Maya, but those are the two of the three top names, the headliners, right? And so PAULIE Malignaggi, he discussed what took place, but he focused on Wilder and he focused on, Devin Haney, to which we know he was stating, and he's been stating, that Devin Haney, is avoiding Olympic gold medalist, two-time Olympic gold medalist, three-division world champion, former unified lightweight world champion, Ukrainian superstar boxer, Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko, who has 16 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 11 wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'6" with a 66-inch arm reach, right? Devin Haney is now 29 wins, no losses, no draw, 15 wins by way of knockout, 23 years of age. He'll be 24 in a few weeks, 5'9" with a 72-inch arm reach, okay? So he focused on them. Okay, PAULIE Malignaggi himself finished his career 36 wins, 8 losses, no draws, 7 wins by way of knockout. 5 times in his career he was stopped and knocked out. 5'8" with a 71-inch arm reach. PAULIE Malignaggi is a pure boxer. Okay, he was a pure boxer, a technician in the ring, and clearly did not have a lot of power. Okay, so in 44 fights, PAULIE Malignaggi had 7 knockouts in 44 fights. So clearly he wasn't a knockout artist, just not a big puncher. Okay, and PAULIE Malignaggi, after Deontay Wilder, who is now 43 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 42 big wins by way of knockout, 36 years of age, 6'7" with an 83-inch arm reach, brutally knocked out in the first round. Okay, heavyweight title contender, star boxer Robert HELENIUS, who came in at 6'6", at 253 pounds, okay? He brutally knocked him out in the first round. Robert HELENIUS, is nobody's walk in the park. Robert HELENIUS in his last 2 fights has shocked the world, okay, when he stopped Adam Kownacki, the Polish Nightmare, who was his trajectory and the way he was perceived as one of the next big things in the sport of boxing. Robert HELENIUS, 31 wins, 4 losses, no draw, 20 wins by way of knockout. 3 times he's been knocked out in his career. Okay, so he stopped the undefeated Adam Kownacki twice. First time in the 4th round, second time in the 6th round. Adam Kownacki was supposed to be the A side, and the Robert HELENIUS was supposed to be a tune-up fight, a stay busy fight for Adam Kownacki, but he shocked the world in both of those fights, right? And so then he got the Deontay Wilder fight. Deontay Wilder came in at 214 pounds. Okay, so Adam Kownacki weighed over nearly 40 pounds heavier than Deontay Wilder. Okay, just about 39 pounds heavier than Deontay Wilder. Okay, at 6'6", so same height essentially. And Deontay Wilder brutally knocked him out in the first round. Okay, now you got people that said that Adam Kownacki was a cherry pick, so on and so forth. No, he was anything but that. So with that said, Deontay Wilder has the highest knockout ratio in the history of the sport of boxing, knocking down and knocking out every opponent he's ever faced. He's knocked down and knocked out every opponent he's ever faced, okay? Putting him atop of the biggest knockout artist in the history of the sport of boxing. His percentage is the highest, okay? And he's knocked down and knocked out every opponent he's faced. And arguably, the ones he knocked down, he knocked them out. Because the one he did knock down was Bermane Stavern, and he knocked him out. Knocked him down 2-3 times in the second fight. The first fight, he knocked Bermane Stavern down, but didn't get a knockout. He got a decision. But in the second fight, he knocked Bermane Stavern out. Okay, knocked him down 2-3 times and then knocked him out. The other fighter was Tyson Fury. Okay, to which Tyson Fury was 2-time undefeated heavyweight world champion, British superstar boxer. Tyson Fury is 6'9", okay, 73 plus pounds with an 85-inch arm reach. So he outweighed Deontay Wilder in the last fight, came in 240 pounds. Tyson Fury came in 273. So he was still 3 pounds heavier than Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder knocked him down. And they fought trilogy, 3 fights. Wilder has knocked him down 4 times. And in the first fight, he dropped him twice. In the third fight, he dropped him twice, right? But you can make a case in both those fights, he arguably knocked Tyson Fury out. Okay, there's controversy surrounding those knockouts. There's people that believe that there was a slow count, you know, on the part of Jack Reese, the referee in the first fight, who said that he wanted to essentially, most people were saying that he should have waved it off. It was over. But Jack Reese is saying that, you know, he wanted to give Tyson Fury the benefit of the doubt because he's a champion. That's not his job. Then in the third fight, it was a slow count on the referee who directed Deontay Wilder. You're supposed to start counting. He stopped counting and directed Deontay Wilder to the neutral. He was already headed to the mutual corner. The referee stopped him and turned him into the different direction and then forced Wilder to have to make an adjustment and go to the mutual corner. In all reality, it should have been counted out. But nonetheless, he lost the fights, right? But he arguably knocked out Tyson Fury, okay? And so with that said, Paulie Malignaggi is saying that Deontay Wilder is now in a conversation with Julian the Hawk Jackson. Now, Julian Jackson, when you think of the biggest punchers in the sport of boxing history, you think of Ernie Shavers, okay? Ernie Shavers had 90 fights combined. In 90 combined fights, Ernie Shavers had 69 knockouts. Ernie Shavers is arguably the hardest puncher in the history of the sport of boxing, right? You have Muhammad Ali vouching that, George Foreman vouching for that, you know, some of the guys he's fought, they vouch Ernie Shavers, right? Then Julian the Hawk Jackson, right? He comes into mind, right? Julian Jackson, 49 KOs in 60 fights. So it's ironic because 21 fights for Ernie Shavers didn't end in knockouts. And Julian Jackson, 11 fights didn't end in knockouts, but they both considered to be the biggest punchers in the history of the sport of boxing, right? As they should be. And then you think of guys like Big George Foreman, okay, who was considered a big knockout puncher. Big George Foreman, right? But you think of Ernie Shavers, Julian Jackson, right? You think of Big George Foreman. Big George Foreman, you know, was considered a big knockout artist himself in his career, okay, for his day. You know, nobody wanted to face George Foreman. He knocked out Joe Frazier. And George Foreman, in 81 fights, right, he had 68 knockouts in 81 fights, okay? Big George Foreman was considered that guy, right? So in 81 fights, 68 knockouts. So you think about Big George Foreman, right? And then you think about Iron Mike Tyson, right? Many people look at Iron Mike Tyson, massive knockout puncher, right? Ferocious. It was the way in which Mike Tyson knocked out people with his hand speed, his head movement being so small. So Mike Tyson, 56 fights, had 44 knockouts in 56 fights, okay? But it was how Mike did it. It was so impressive because Mike Tyson, 5'10", not a big guy, you know, his head movement going underneath, being at such a size disadvantage and still knocking out folks. Mike Tyson was impressive, right? And so you look at then Deontay Wilder. But Paulie Malignaggi, he throws in another guy because Paulie Malignaggi, as I told you guys, has been on this kick where Paulie Malignaggi wants to include Caucasian fighters because Paulie Malignaggi is a Caucasian Italian boxer. And Paulie Malignaggi wasn't happy. He did an interview in which Paulie Malignaggi discussed that the lack of, Caucasian good fighters in the sport of boxing is due to the four major sports: the NFL, National Football League, the NBA, National Basketball Association, the MLB, Major League Baseball, and the NHL, National Hockey League, that are attracting the Caucasian athletes from the sport of boxing. And so he wants to include the Caucasian fighters. Hence the reason why he has an issue with Devin Haney, because Devin Haney made a comment in the past that stated that he would never let a white boy beat him. And Paulie Malignaggi wasn't happy with that. And so when you look at this common denominator, Ernie Shavers, African-American boxer, Julian Jackson, the Hulk Jackson, a black boxer, George Foreman, a black boxer, Mike Tyson, a black boxer, right? Deontay Wilder, a black boxer. But he had to break it up. And so this is what Paulie Malignaggi had to say. He throws another guy in the mix.
Or he was trying to come with he was trying to come right hand, jab, and right hand. And
so he's going to say, that Deontay Wilder is now in the conversation. When you think about big punches, you think about these guys, that Deontay Wilder is now in the conversation. Now, he does give Deontay Wilder his credit and says, he's even different from these guys. But the fact that he even threw this fighter in the mix is pure comedy to me.
That leaned him right into that Deontay Wilder right hand, which, again, this guy might be, he's in the conversation for the hardest puncher in boxing history. I know guys like...
He's in the conversation for the hardest puncher in boxing history. Yeah, that's no doubt about that. He has the highest knockout ratio in history of the sport of boxing, and he absolutely obliterates his opponents, like none other. He's obliterating his opponents. Even his highlight reel knockouts are even on kill with Ernie Shavers and Julian Jackson. It's on kill with them. There's nobody that's obliterating his opponents. Not even Mike Tyson was obliterating them the way Deontay Wilder, Ernie Shavers, and Julian Jackson was a balloon. Mike Tyson would do it, bang, bang, combination, boom, 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 knockout, uppercut, right? But this is one punch, boom, and sending you into the next realm. But listen to who Paulie Malignaggi throws in the mix, please.
Julian Jackson come to mind. And
Julian Jackson, as I stated, right? I told you guys, when you look at Julian the Hulk Jackson, out of 60 fights, 49 knockouts.
Guys like Gennady Golovkin come to...
Gennady Golovkin? Gennady Golovkin? Paulie? Gennady Golovkin? Where does Gennady Golovkin fit in this equation? Gennady Golovkin, definitely a big puncher in his career. No doubt about that, right? But Gennady Golovkin wasn't obliterating his opponents with one punch. Not in the least bit, Not in the least bit was Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, obliterating his opponents. Now, again, like I said, Gennady Golovkin is considered a big puncher, for sure. But Gennady Golovkin, nobody confuses Gennady Triple G Golovkin. Now, remember, like I told you guys, Paulie Malignaggi said the Eastern European fighters is dominating the sport of boxing. Well, Gennady Golovkin is from Kazakhstan. So he had to throw a Caucasian Kazakhstan fighter in the mix. Nobody's confusing Gennady Golovkin with Julian Jackson, Ernie Shavers, George Foreman, and Mike Tyson. Gennady Golovkin in 45 fights has 37 knockouts, absolutely. But he's not one punch obliterating fighters like Julian Jackson, Ernie Shavers, and Deontay Wilder, or George Foreman. And the level of opposition that they're obliterating. Again, Deontay Wilder, you could say, well, he hasn't knocked out the best. Tyson Fury hit the deck 4 times. I don't remember Canelo Alvarez touching the deck against Gennady Golovkin at all. At all. At all. He didn't touch the canvas at all. Not at all. Right? Yeah, he did hurt Kell Brook broke Kell Brook. Kell Brook was a welterweight that jumped up 2 weight classes to fight Gennady Golovkin. But the 2 major fights in Golovkin's career, which is Canelo Alvarez, those 3 fights, Canelo Alvarez didn't hit the deck not a single time in near one of those fights. Tyson Fury hit the deck 4 times in 3 fights. That's 1 per fight and extra for throwing, for good measure. Canelo fought Triple G 3 times, and he wasn't even visibly hurt. There was times when Tyson Fury was hurt and didn't even hit the deck.
And so forth, in terms of some of the biggest punches we've seen in the sport of boxing, Mike Tyson and so on and so forth. But this
Gennady Golovkin. So Gennady Golovkin came to mind for Paulie for one reason and one reason only. It's because he's a Kazakhstan, Eastern European fighter that's Caucasian. Period. Because nobody, when you say, if you ask anybody, who's the biggest punchers in the history of sport of boxing? They're going to say Ernie Shavers, Julian Jackson, Mike Tyson, George Foreman, Deontay Wilder. Ain't nobody going to say Gennady Golovkin. Now, they may say, if you say who's some of the biggest punchers at middleweight, and you specify one and single out one division, then Gennady Golovkin will come into play. But not overall in the history of the sport of boxing, nobody's going to think of Gennady Golovkin. But if you just single out the middleweight division and say, hey, man, who's the biggest puncher in the middleweight division? Okay, then Gennady Golovkin name will come into play. But just overall as the biggest punches in the history of sport of boxing, no, Paulie.
And then he was trying to come with he was trying to come right hand, jab, and right hand. And that leaned him right into that Deontay Wilder right hand, which again, this guy might be, I mean, he's in the conversation for the hardest puncher in boxing history. I know guys like, Julian Jackson come to mind, and, guys like Gennady Golovkin come to mind, and so on and so forth, in terms of, some of the biggest punchers we've seen in the sport of boxing, Mike Tyson and so on and so forth.
No, Paulie. Gennady Golovkin comes to mind for you, not for everybody else in the sport of boxing. And it only comes to mind for you for one specific reason. Because you have to break up, okay? You want to break up, you want to mix it up, period. That's it. Deontay Wilder is not in the conversation. There's no comparison in Deontay Wilder and Gennady Golovkin. There's no comparison in Julian Jackson and Gennady Golovkin. There's no comparison to Ernie Shavers and Gennady Golovkin. There's no comparison to Mike Tyson and Gennady Golovkin. There's no comparison to George Foreman and Gennady Golovkin. Now, you want to compare, again, like I said, Gennady Golovkin to his peers in the middleweight division, like Bernard Hopkins and, Roy Jones and, Sugar Ray Robinson, the history of the middleweight reign, the power there. Yeah, you can compare him. He's going to come to mind then, but not overall in the history of the sport of boxing. Stop it. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share your videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.